better if she just forgets him over time. Meanwhile, Sue is hiding from Lucas in the same office, afraid of being caught by the man. Dan approaches Sue and tells her that she can still confess to Lucas. He assures that the girl will not be able to achieve more if she is afraid to even come up to say hello. However, Sue, feeling her heartbreak, says that if Lucas is happy, she will be happy too. At this time, Lucas takes the elevator down, scrolling through a lot of thoughts in his head. So much has happened to him lately that it is impossible to remember everything. Despite the fact that his father had exploited him all his life, it was he who miraculously gave Lucas the first 25 billion. Lucas believed that after the divorce he would not be able to start a relationship at all. But Ellie and other people showed sympathy to him appeared in his life. And although the man is a little sorry to leave the company where he liked to work, a great future awaited him. Lucas takes a step towards this future and leaves the company where he has worked for the past 3 years. He is inspired and very much looking forward to new adventures. And soon, unfortunately, life all over the world faces a great tragedy. Field hospitals are being organized everywhere. The world is gripped by a global pandemic of a new virus unknown to science. After a while, we find ourselves on the investment bulletin board again. Participants in investment chats are actively discussing where to invest money, in cryptocurrency, stocks, or real estate. However, here appears a participant who used to actively promote his goes under the nickname 10 million won. It turns out to be Jack, who bullied Lucas at work. Now the man is his devoted fan and has repented of everything. The chat participants agree that Lucas' life should now be just fabulous. And they are not far from the truth. He has moved to a new house, even more luxurious than the previous one. So much so that Lucas has a security staff of many armed men and a personal swimming pool. And the popularity of the man was the reason that a journalist came to visit him for an interview. After receiving praise for his new home, Lucas replies contentedly that he purchased it for those occasions when he is staying in Korea. This perfectly emphasizes that Lucas is one of the 10 richest people in Korea. And this is despite the fact that he is only 32 years old, which is quite a small age for all his merits. The man confidently holds himself in front of the camera, dressed in an expensive suit, and smiles softly. He has already settled in a luxurious environment. He is used to expensive cars and travel. Now, being on the covers of magazines does not surprise him much, but he still wants to show off the magazine in front of Ellie. Lucas writes her messages that he will soon come to the States and wants to see her. However, the man does not receive an answer, and this makes him worry. This causes Alice, the new secretary and security guard, to call him by name several times to get attention. Lucas apologizes for the lack of attention and this time seriously listens to her report on the growth of assets and profits. All this leads to the fact that Lucas will soon become one of the richest people in the world. Lucas feels satiated and uninspired. He wants something new and breakthrough. Just in time, Alice informs him that there is a message from Dr. Henry. In it, the man reports that there are signs of an impending pandemic of a dangerous virus. Despite the fact that the place of origin is difficult to determine, the infection has spread to many countries. Lucas regrets that an epidemic could happen, even though he has invested in healthcare. Therefore, the man decides to help solve Henry's problems and build additional housing for his employees. Although they rented a large bus to transport laboratory staff, Lucas believes that such measures are not enough. Therefore, he proposes to act more radically and improve their lives, since they have opportunities. Still, these are people who work even at night, and it is inconvenient for them to live away from the laboratory. So Lucas decides that it would be in his best interest to build a new building. To implement his idea, he turns to an old acquaintance, Chloe, whom he met on the plane. For a business meeting, they go to a classic soul bar. The girl sulks at Lucas because he asked for a meeting for work. He wants one of her company's divisions to help carry out the construction work, while Chloe herself hoped that the man she met 2 years ago asked her out on a date. Lucas says that he could not contact the girl because he was busy investing or traveling all the time. Chloe is surprised that Lucas has a personal bodyguard, a large black man. Lucas explains that he hired him while traveling so that he would not be stabbed for 100 euros. The girl sighs, but agrees to do the construction, but she has conditions, and one of them is shares in Chris's company, which Lucas bought. Still, Chloe's car company has a strong interest in autonomous driving. Lucas agrees to these conditions quite calmly, not seeing too much damage to himself. But Chloe's second condition evokes much more emotions in him. The embarrassed girl hides her face, as if afraid to say what is on her mind. But when she makes up her mind, she says that she wants to get drunk with Lucas. At this time, an important conversation takes place in the company owned by her father. The chairman's secretary informs him that Chloe, despite the late evening, has not yet returned home. Chloe's father is not surprised by her absence because he is a workaholic himself. However, the secretary reports that the girl is on a date with a man. This infuriates Chloe's father because he can't imagine what kind of man would be worthy of his daughter. But his daughter spends time very actively and drinks bottle after bottle with Lucas. She persuades Lucas to drink more, but the man knows how to stop in time. Lucas looks at this behavior, sweating nervously. He did not expect this from a rich heiress. He hands Chloe over to her staff, who promise to take Chloe home. At this time, he himself gets into his car and leaves the meeting place. As soon as Lucas is far away, Chloe instantly wakes up, as if she didn't drink at all. It turns out that once she learned from YouTube that if you pretend to be drunk, a man will immediately attack you, and decided to use it. However, she decides that he is embarrassed because of her beauty and there is nowhere to hurry. Chloe confidently states that there is no man who would not fall in love with her. In the company's office, the girl is impatiently awaited by her father. A negative aura thickens around the man. Chloe asks her father not to make a mountain out of a molehill, convincing him that the meeting was a business meeting. First of all, Chloe wanted to buy out the shares of one of Lucas's American companies. Her father is pleased that Chloe saw business rather than romance in the meeting. However, she openly admits that she has been in love with Lucas for a long time, which shocks the chairman. Chloe doesn't care that Lucas is divorced, as she doesn't see anything special in couples dating and breaking up. And she does not intend to listen to any dissatisfaction of her father about the candidacy of her beloved. Her father whines that he introduced Chloe to good boys, but she rejected them all, and Chloe replies that they were useless heirs to the conglomerates. Chloe prefers to listen to her intuition, and she tells her that Lucas is a special person. She is sure that Lucas will be able to bring a real wind of change. The next day, Lucas goes to the bio company and meets Paul, who throws himself at him with a hug. Suddenly, Professor Paul is confronted with the sharp gaze of Lucas's guard. Lucas's guard gets an equally appraising look at Professor Paul. As a result, a spark slips between the pumped-up men, and they begin to measure their muscles and agree to go to the gym together. Hung with the remnants of the clothes that the men tore off while showing off, Lucas sighs softly. Lucas asks the professor about Dr. Henry's health and learns that he worked all night and passed out. The current situation with the pandemic turns out to be, according to the professor, very bad. In just a month after the outbreak, the virus spread to the United States, Europe, China, Japan, and the number of new infected exceeded 25,000 per day. The number of deaths is huge. Paul asked Lucas to increase the computer power to run artificial intelligence. Such an increase in capacity can help to quickly find a solution to the problem with both the virus and the necessary vaccine. At home, Lucas ponders the results of his visit to the bio company and his possible steps. He sighs heavily, trying to figure out how to increase the power for artificial intelligence to work. One of Lucas' ideas is to build a building to house a computer center, and he is also thinking about using foreign cloud services. But he is not sure of the success of these ideas, so he decides to distract himself with computer games. Realizing how much dust has accumulated on his computer during his time of non-use, he comes up with a new plan. In order to understand whether it will work, Lucas needs to hear his friend's opinion. He jumps up from his seat with impatience because it is impossible to sit still. If his idea works, it will allow not only to achieve huge computer performance, but also to start a new business. At this time, the phone on the bedside table of the guard, Lucas, begins to vibrate. The man wakes up and hurriedly answers a call from his boss, who asks him to prepare an urgent trip to the States. In San Francisco at this time, there is a fierce shootout. Of course, not in real life, but in the next game that Charlie is going through. Suddenly, a large black man appears in front of Charlie's face. Lucas's security guard scares his friend, and Charlie jumps up and threatens to call the police. And then he realizes that he is surrounded by a large number of strangers. Suddenly, a familiar voice reaches Charlie from behind the men. Lucas apologizes to his friend for the intrusion, as they called and knocked, but Charlie did not hear, and they had to enter. When the misunderstanding is resolved, Charlie admires Lucas's personal bodyguards. But not wanting to drag it out for long, Lucas decides to ask a friend how he feels about cartoons about superheroes, Because Lucas has a desire to save the world together and become a kind of heroes. Right now, the world is in great danger, and men have a plan to save it. Charlie does not understand what the coin that his friend is twisting in his fingers has to do with it. Lucas proposes to create his own cryptocurrency to solve urgent problems. He laughs when a friend offers him treatment for his digital addiction. After all, in fact, his idea has great potential for implementation. Lucas explains to Charlie, who does not understand logic, what his plan is. The creation of a cryptocurrency is necessary for the development of a vaccine, as the performance of artificial intelligence is insufficient. With the help of blockchain technology, the system resources of computers that have applied for mining will be used, and in return, people will receive a new cryptocurrency. The use of unspent capacity by artificial intelligence can be a great help in the development of a vaccine against a new virus. Lucas also guarantees a minimum exchange price for coins, which will allow people to compensate for their electricity bill and earn a little money. Charlie doubts that such an idea can be profitable, but it can definitely save the world. He is very impressed with Lucas's plan and wants to have fun taking part in it. Lucas also plans to try his hand at the entertainment content niche. He is thinking about shooting a movie or a drama with their favorite actors. Charlie is delighted and asks to entrust him with the work, because he will not let you down and will complete all the tasks assigned to him. They decide to first assemble a team that will help them in the implementation of the cryptocurrency project. As they plan to pay them the best salary in the industry, Lucas asks a friend to choose people more carefully. However, Charlie teaches him that real heroes are not driven by money. They act at the call of the heart. He posts an announcement about the creation of a team on a forum where the strongest representatives of the computer industry gather and offer the fulfillment of any desires in terms of merch. Responses begin to pour in at lightning speed, and Lucas is shocked at how interested everyone is in his project. Charlie laughs that it's the power of otaku, and he's not surprised that the people in the project are interested. After a while, Lucas and Charlie open an office that can be staffed by the IT specialists they have hired. Lucas meets a new employee at the entrance who looks at him with interest and introduces herself to her. The girl is awkwardly silent, actively examining and inflating a bubble of gum. And then he writes in a general chat with colleagues that their boss is handsome and you need to be careful. Such behavior embarrasses Lucas, but he is not annoyed because he begins to get used to the manners of such extraordinary personalities. He decides for himself that all programmers have their quirks, but that's not a bad thing at all. Despite the fact that he and Charlie have prepared the latest computers and offices, no one uses them. Everyone sits where they are comfortable with their laptops. Lucas approaches Charlie to get an interim report. Things are going great, and Charlie devotes a lot of time to their project, taking a break from his work. But there is one person that Charlie wants to introduce to his friend. This brilliant programmer's name is Eddie. He sits separately from everyone else. He doesn't make mistakes when writing code and always puts his heart and soul into his work. Therefore, Charlie confidently considers it the heart of their entire project. And he would like Lucas and Eddie to find a common language. But Charlie is also curious about what name Lucas came up with for their new coin. Lucas calls their creation the original coin, which surprises his friend. But in the understanding of a man, the original coin is a coin that can become the source of anything. While Lucas was developing his cryptocurrency in the States, the situation was tense in his previous company. During breaks, the employees actively discussed the appointment of Maria Ajrayam, Lucas's ex-wife, as the head of the department, bypassing the candidate everyone likes. This is definitely personnel corruption, as Maria is in a relationship with the senior boss she chose to infringe on Lucas. Maria's subordinates doubt that she will make a good head of the department, since her experience and skills are insufficient. Maria witnesses their conversation and harshly scolds the girls for gossip during the working day. In her opinion, if one of them is not satisfied with working under her leadership, they can submit a letter of resignation or go after the previous head of the department to a city far from Seoul. The girls hurriedly apologize to Maria and hurry to leave the restroom. Lucas's ex-wife repeats her new position out loud. She is pleased with the power it gives her. Then the woman's attention is attracted by a magazine with Lucas on the cover, lying on the table. She angrily grabs it and throws it in the nearest trash can. As she walks down the hallway of the company, she reflects on the opportunity she lost when she lost Lucas. Now her new admirer has an annual salary of about 100 million won, and his parents have a nice house.